we said that our salvation gives our human life meaning. So when we experience Christ as life in our salvation, that gives meaning to our human life. But it is seeing Christ and the church, it is seeing the body of Christ that gives our Christian life meaning. So, our experience of salvation, that's what's presented in Romans 1 through 8. We've gone through in Romans 1 through 8 covers our justification, we're being made right before God, our sanctification, where now Christ is growing in us as a divine life in us. But this process of life that we see in Romans 1 through 8 is actually for our experience of Romans 12, which is our experience of the body life. How do we live as a member of the body in relation to other members as well as in relation to the Lord? So, yeah, I appreciate that our Christian living has a purpose. How do we have this in reality? And we don't want to just study the body. We don't want to just know, okay, I'm a member. But we really want to live the body life. And this is what Paul gets into in chapter 12. Maybe we can read Roman numeral 3 together. The body life requires all three parts of our being: a presented body, a transformed soul, and a burning spirit. So, to live the body life requires the exercise of our whole being. There's three main points that Paul brings out. And these 3 points correspond to the 3 parts of our being: our body, our soul, and our spirit. And the first thing that Paul says in Romans 12 is, I exhort you, therefore, brothers, through the compassions of God, to present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, well-pleasing to God, which is your reasonable service. So the first thing that Paul says is, present your bodies. And actually, this is in a strong way. The word exhort can also be translated beg. Paul is begging us, is begging the believers, just present your bodies. And the reason that Paul has so much feeling for this is because this is the first step, and it's the most practical step that we have in living the body life. If we want to have a spiritual relationship with the other members, we have to present our bodies. The rest of our being, our soul, our spirit is in our body. So if our body's not there, there's no way that we can have a spiritual relationship. And then the body would just be knowledge to us. There wouldn't be the way to practice this. So Paul begins with this step. And this step is just so practical. This is why, as Christians, we meet with other Christians. It's for this reason. It's because we're members of the body. We come together to read the Word in our Bible studies, or like tonight, in a fellowship night, in a bigger meeting. Well, maybe we get together in smaller groups of 2s or 3s to pray and read the Word. All of this is so we need to present our bodies. All of this is for our being able to be built up with the members around us, to have the appropriate spiritual relationship. And then after this point, after we present our bodies, then Paul moves on to the second part of our being. Romans 12:2a says, do not be fashioned according to this age, but be transformed by the renewing of the mind. So after presenting our body, our mind needs to be renewed. Our mind is the leading part of our soul. So our transforming of our soul is led by the renewing of our mind. I think, just as an example of this, in ourselves, we have a lot of natural feeling and our natural concepts, and these are what needs to be renewed. For example, if let's say that I have a preference, I like a few certain brothers, so I just like to fellowship with them. Maybe they're just these brothers that are pretty similar to me. They like the things that I like, so I'm going to go fellowship with them. I'm going to be built up with them. But then maybe these brothers, they don't like the food that I like to eat, so I don't have the way to fellowship with them. I have that preference in me, that natural taste in me. That natural taste needs to be renewed. If we Can you imagine if the body of Christ was like that? We only fellowship with believers that we like to hang around with. I don't think that will be the body of Christ that the Lord desires to have. And then finally, the last point that is brought out is we need to be burning in spirit. How about we read point C under Roman numeral 3 together? We must be burning in spirit, that we may be stirred up and encouraged to go on in the body life in a positive way. And how about we also read Romans 12:11? Do not be slothful in zeal, but be burning in spirit, serving the Lord. All right, so now we're here at this stage. Let's say, we presented our body. Even we've given the way for the Lord to renew our mind. But it is quite critical that we exercise the third part of our being, which is our spirit. And the spirit is where the Lord is as the Spirit. Even we can see in this verse, there is a world of a difference between being slothful in zeal and being burning in spirit, or to be zealous and to be burning in spirit. When we have the two other aspects of our being, but we're not exercising our spirit, then what's remaining is our zeal, you can say. It's our natural willingness to be with the brothers, to be with the other members, and to serve the Lord. And then Paul says, do not be slothful in zeal. So this zealousness to Paul or to the Lord is slothfulness. When we consider all that is encapsulated in the body life, Paul presents a lot of virtues at the end of chapter 12. Paul says that we need to rejoice with those who rejoice. We need to weep with those who weep. He says, bless those who persecute you. He says, love your enemies. He says a lot of things, but when we're not exercising our spirit, all those things can become commandments to us. They can become just tasks to do, or even they would be burdens to us. Okay, I'll present my body, or okay, I'll weep. I'll emphasize with this other member. So, in order for us to really go on and live in this way, we need this third part of our being. We need our spirit, because we need to be serving the Lord through the Lord. If we're doing everything out of ourselves, we won't have the way to really live in the body life and to go on living in this way. So Paul presents these three aspects as a practical way for us to live out the body life, to live out in reality what is the body of Christ.